Hello everyone, Skippy here, and welcome to One Piece episode 957, directed by Megumi Ishitani and supervised by Hirotaka Ito and Eisaku Inoue. After an episode shepherded by two of our co-series directors and realized by bright young talent, it brings me absolute pleasure to say that we're getting even more of that fresh new generation of star directors in the making this week in such a huge way this time. As one of Toei's absolute brightest young talents, Megumi Ishitani, who dazzled and amazed everyone with her punchy and symbolic work on Dragon Ball Super's final episode 2 years ago, is finally taking the reins of her first One Piece episode after being an assistant director since 919, and is in charge of such an extremely important and hype-filled chapter at that, which sent manga readers into a frenzy in late 2019. Since her last major project directing the Toei animation short film Jurassic was well over a year ago now, it's no wonder why even people from the greater anime community are stoked to witness the next work of one of Toei's star pupils. With more of that same impactful movie-like direction being on display in the preview that should perfectly capture the utter chaos that the outside world has been pulled into, it looks as if we're in for one hell of a treat in every sense of the word, as well as quite possibly one of the strongest episodes of the series as a whole. When backed up with some exceptionally lively character acting that looks to be done by similarly new and talented blood, on top of corrections from two of the strongest supervisors that both perfectly represent the different generations of staff, this here episode should be nothing short of phenomenal and a fantastic way to kick off the year. So will episode 957 make this big news even more memorable than it already was? Let's make some headlines and find out. This episode covers the entirety of chapter 956, and throughout the whole way they make the manga feel larger than life by adapting this monumental chapter in such a cinematic way, never leaving out an opportunity to make things that much bigger and more bombastic than their manga counterparts, because it knows just how special the content itself is, and I absolutely love that about it. From giving us a glimpse at Fujitora pondering the past of the warlord system before the reverie, to extending the warlords themselves reacting to their abolishment, which leaves enough room for us to see the other characters on their crew and allows time for some fun comedy and downright hype, the staff have delicately decided what to fillerize all the way in a chapter that already gives as much context as they can, without feeling like it's giving away anything from Oda's intended mystery. And whether it be anime original or lifted from the pages of the manga, it always has that sense of grandeur that the content absolutely deserves above all else. Even the recap scenes that go over past arcs in the food chain of the One Piece world that would feel out of place usually, or used to pad for time, feel coherent and organically woven into the episode's DNA due to what they mostly focus on. Like the last episode in the outside world 917, it knows when to kick it into high gear and expand upon what Oda set forth without going too far and maybe creating some inconsistencies later on. But there's just something about how Ishitani does it all and wraps it into such a nice character-packed package that makes me prefer it to even the best that 917 had to offer as much as I love it. And that's just down to how carefully she brings the drawings from Oda's pen to life, which is emphasized greatly in terms of how her storyboard turned out and how much it adds to this experience. With insanely spacious layouts that feel incredibly three-dimensional and an overall crazy good sense of scale that helps create the first time we're seeing many of these locales post-timeskip in the anime, Ishitani captures the wide variety of One Piece's world damn near perfectly and allows for so much character and life to be spilling out of the people involved. But that's only just the beginning. Because quite like Koreta's most recent episode, in which he took extreme measures to make what would be a normal episode under anyone else feel cinematic, Ishitani treats this episode like a movie and dresses the episode in so much bold colors, carefully chosen lighting, and specific angles, with the Dutch angle being the one that stood out to me the most, to give the episode the feeling that we're not just watching the next installment in this long-running anime, but something that's on the level of something theatrical directorially. Toss in all the extreme compositing tools used in Wano, such as chromatic aberration, that further add depth to the picture, with the overall composite looking as if every shot was particularly handcrafted to look as incredible as can be, with some even featuring variety and line colors all over a given drawing, which is better than most Toei shows composites, and Ishitani manages to make her storyboard feel like no other in such delicate but effortless ways. And that's not even touching upon the brief moments of visual storytelling that, as you all know, I love, where Sabo's face in particular isn't shown throughout the entirety of the episode, and the one time it is, it's covered by the shine that's on the picture that was taken of him. Keeping what happened to him as ambiguous as the manga did in even bigger and cooler ways, that's expanded upon when we reach the Kamabaka Kingdom and Koala says Sabo's name solemnly as the camera focuses on his empty seat. Whether it be the creative ways of giving us an explanation of stuff we've heard thousands of times before now, Ishitani's storyboard joins the league of some of my absolute favorite storyboards in the series, and high up there at that, for the several different amazing layers that it has all the way to its core. When even the background art changes just a smidge as some of the undersea table gets into Garp's bubble, you know there's just so much attention to detail and love poured into how the episode looks. And goddamn does the animation further that. As if Inoue and Ito pulling out some of their most polished corrections thus far wasn't enough, 957 is something that I'll dub character acting central because it is packed to the very top of the brim with it. Bringing along the likes of Masami Mori aka Soti once again to breathe so much life into Morgans and his cohorts while also delivering on some fantastic depth field layouts that executes Ishitani's board perfectly. And even exceptional French animator Chansard Vincent, who some may know from Fate Grand Order Babylonia or his amazing My Hero Academia fan animations 2 years ago, who presumably did a good amount of the section that focuses on the warlords and the hierarchy of the One Piece world that's filled with some of the best character acting and overall movement I've seen in the series thus far, which is helped by his understanding of weight and inertia that pumps the blood of some of our favorite characters. When even series regular Katsumi Ishizuka gets in on the fun by animating a short but unexpected scene with Buggy that feels different yet expectedly visceral like the rest of his catalog of work, this episode never stops moving in even some of the smallest bits of it, thanks to animators like Ko Horio and even series regular Masahiro Kitazaki having fun with Ishitani's board. And I feel like I'm repeating myself here, but it just breathes so much life into Oda's pages and genuinely leaves me freaking gobsmacked. I had high expectations already for this episode, but I did not expect to be blown away in the way that I was despite that. Ishitani, Inoue, Ito, just everyone worked so very hard and brought their absolute A game to this entry. And they didn't just make an episode of One Piece, but a mini One Piece movie too. It's an episode that I'll cherish for years and years to come, and I can't wait to see what Ishitani is capable of with future manga content, because thanks to her leadership, this one just became one of my absolute favorites and one of the best in the series, bar none. Next week we will certainly be brought down a peg with episode 958 being outsourced to the studio Magic Bus once again, but Ippei Masui's corrections weren't really overly offensive to me last time, and when Yutaka Nakashima is the one in charge of the storyboard this time, it should be 10 times better than what we saw from their efforts in 947. There's lots of good color and some cool backgrounds that will certainly bring an air of vibrance to it all. So I'm hoping that the crew over at Magic Bus will surprise me and make this obvious knockdown in quality not like a nuke-sized crater. Anyways guys, it's it for now. I'm Skippy, and thank you Megumi Ishitani.